Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well wherever you are. My name is Jake and I'm starting this YouTube channel today to tell you about a book that I wrote called the Heroes of Tara Player's Guide. It's a third-party adaptation of the 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons rule set, self-published by myself, and it's available on DriveThruRPG.com. Heroes of Tara is all about Celtic, and more precisely, Irish mythology. It's not just inspired by Irish mythology, and it's not just borrowing Celtic aesthetics. It is based directly on the source material of Irish mythology and is dedicated to simulating that rich and romantic world. We're all pretty familiar with at least the broad strokes of Norse, Greek, and maybe even a little Egyptian mythology, thanks to exposure through the media of pop culture. But Irish mythology has remained relatively untouched by the mainstream. It's something that a lot of people know at least a little bit about, but not many people know a whole lot about, and everybody seems to be curious about learning more. And that's what Heroes of Tara is all about. If you want to learn more about Irish mythology, this is the book for you. The setting for Heroes of Tara is called Eru, which was a name for Ireland in the Old Irish language. Eru is a mythologized and idealized version of Iron Age Ireland, which is informed not only by the mythology and folklore, but also by the real-world history and archaeology that we know of the period, dating from roughly the 1st century BC to the 3rd century AD. If you know anything about Irish mythology, you probably know the names of its two greatest heroes, Cuchulainn and Finn McCool. Well, in Heroes of Tara, players will be able to encounter and interact with these legendary characters, as well as countless other characters from the source material, alongside many creatures such as fairies, phantoms, Fomorians, monsters, nature spirits, and other things besides. People might not realize how deep the source material goes and how much there is to plumb from its depths, and I tried to cram as much of it as I could into the Heroes of Tara Player's Guide. This book is a complete top-to-bottom rebuild of the 5th edition rule set, providing players with everything they need to create a character that is completely 100% rooted in Irish mythology. There are 10 playable tribes to choose from. In this book, the term tribe takes the place of what might traditionally be known as races. Presented front and center in the book are the 3 major tribes of the Aesí, Firbolg, and Gael, who each in their own way play major and central roles in Eru's epic tales. And just as some bonus content that we unlocked in the Kickstarter crowdfunding that got this book off the ground, I've also included 4 Outlander tribes for those players who want to play a Briton, a Gaul, a Pict, or even a Roman. And for players who enjoy having more fantastical non-human character options, I've also included 3 hidden tribes, which are inspired by some of the more mysterious and obscure denizens of Celtic folklore. And finally, there's the special tribe and class combo of the Duine Sidhe, a character option which enables players to take on the role of the little folk of Irish folklore, such as leprechauns or any other kind of fey being that you can imagine. Everybody who isn't a Duine Sidhe can take up the role of one of 3 classes, each unique to Heroes of Tara and firmly rooted in this setting, with its own rich lore, informed, of course, by the mythological source material. You can play as a Faenid, which is a clever and agile warrior of the wilderness and is directly inspired by the hero Finn McCool. Or you can become a Fili, a sage and seer who commands respect in society. Or finally, you can become a warrior of the Red Branch, a bold and fierce battle seeker who follows in the path of Cuchulainn himself. And just to wrap up the rundown real quick, we have 9 new backgrounds representing the castes of ancient Celtic society. We have 4 new skills, over 30 new feats, a cashless barter economy based on the value of cattle. We have Geisha, which we all know from the D&D spell, but in this book will be properly represented as magical taboos placed on characters by fate or by the gods. We have curses with meaningful consequences which will require special effort to dispel. We have enchantments for weapons and armor. We have rules for the honored and mystical custom of headhunting, which can yield totems of great power to your player characters. And finally, we have rules for driving chariots in high-speed combat. And then we have just a bottomless well of appendices. I really let it get away from me on that one, folks. I just kept adding appendix after appendix after appendix on any ancillary topic that you can imagine. And I'm glad I did. The appendices take up at least the last quarter of the book and the majority of the alphabet, and I have no regrets. Okay, I think that'll do it for an introduction. I just had to get something out there, as quick and sloppy as this may have been. I've been sitting here for over the past week just trying to make the perfect first video for my channel, and eventually I had to admit to myself that my perfectionism was becoming procrastination. So here we are, taking our first step out the door. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this, but in the future I really look forward to learning the ropes of what it takes to make a good YouTube video. I want to improve my skills at, recording and editing, and I want to polish these videos into something that can really be entertaining for you all, just as my book is. Thank you so much if you have listened or watched this far. Like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff. First time in my life I have ever actually said the phrase in earnest. And of course, if you are interested in looking into Heroes of Tara, I'm going to provide a link below to the page on drivethrurpg.com where it is available for purchase in both PDF digital copy or printed hardcover. I'm also going to provide a link to the Heroes of Tara Discord community. If you want to find other players and try and form a group to play a game of Heroes of Tara, that's probably the place to go. Drop on by, we would love to have you. But if you're not yet sold and you need to hear a little bit more before you're convinced to purchase a copy for yourself, then stay tuned, because this channel is going to be entirely dedicated to diving into every wonderful facet and detail that this book has to offer. And before I go, I want to take this opportunity to thank everybody who has already supported Heroes of Tara. You are the reason that I have made it this far. Thank you very much. I now leave you all with the kind and generous testimonies of several content creators who have already gotten their hands on a copy of Heroes of Tara.
Now, I was actually consulted in the making of this book, but actually the author didn't have to be told to make any corrections because I found it to be extremely authoritative. For the D&D player, it has many great aspects to it. Now, he has created entirely new classes that reflect the ancient Gaelic society, and he has tailored the magic system to accurately reflect the magic as presented in Gaelic mythology. So it's not only a wonderful game, but it is an amazing book for anyone interested in Celtic history and mythology, and I highly, highly recommend it. I'd like to give a salute to Jacob Dirksen, who put this together. It's a wonderful piece of art.
But you found a way to knit it all together in a very, very comprehensive way. But it's also extremely detailed. So I can only imagine, as I was reading, I was like, geez, this guy must have been going out of his mind a bit. Yeah, I just I can't tell you how impressed I am with the amount of detail you've gone into here.
I've had to come to peace with creators using D&D 5e as the basis of their own RPG, mostly because they tend to elevate the original game to new heights with the brilliant setting. This game belongs in that bucket of adaptations, with the bonus feature of it sidestepping the perpetual combat problem in the game. But this one is a relatively rare bird in the sense that it is so firmly couched in anthropological research and study that you can just sit there and read the book and bask in details that you know are derived from a real-life culture. This book is a reminder of the fact that being a GM in this hobby and reading these 400-page books is occasionally one of the greatest joys that the hobby has to offer. If you have even a hint of curiosity about Irish culture or folklore, or if you have any Irish heritage, you should definitely check this one out, even if just for the joy of reading it.
It's very in line with Irish mythology, and in hearing about these legendary wild warriors who would just, run on the battlefield wearing nothing but a shield and jump into the fray and just start cutting people down.
The vibes of this book are immaculate.
Yeah.